Hi, Julie. How are you?
Hello. I'm fine this morning. Thank you very much.
Oh,
The sun
thank
is shining
you.
here.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for having the time to share and this journey with B and Symphony 7. Thank you so much. So let's start. Julie, for those people, I know of course you're known, but for those people who don't know you yet, who is Julie Green?
Well, thank you for that question. That's a very open question. Who am I? Well, I guess I like to think that I stand for, the balance between what's good for nature, what's good for financial, and what's good for our peoples. So in my role as a director, I always try and balance those three things together. And I also believe that we are all leaders, Christine. So whatever you might be, that we all have the capacity to be a leader in our world.
Wow, that's thank you. That's amazing. Julie, I just want to ask you to go further on that. So when you say you wanted to stand for a balance, in all directions of your life right now, I just want to ask you any sample or any tips that you can share to the world in your journey, how you do it.
Look, I guess to be honest, Christine, when I started out in life, I was from the UK, so we came here to Australia in 1987, and I was a qualified chartered accountant from London. So I qualified in the City of London. So I was very well versed in the financial side of doing business. And I guess what happens when you get a bit older is that you realize that, sure, money is important, but also the world in which we live and the interconnectivity of our world is also very important. And that we can get out of balance and concentrate too much on profit. We can actually think about making money as well as thinking about the planet and the interconnectivity of us all. So it isn't one size fits all. It's not just financial at any cost. And I think we've come to a realization as a planet that we have to consider those three areas in business. And I certainly do as a director. So when I look at issues around the boardroom table, I would obviously evaluate the financial position of whatever I'm looking at, but also the impact on customers, impact on staff, and the impact, importantly, on what is good for the planet. And if we all made decisions considering those three variables, then we would have a lot better decisions made in our world.
You're right. Well, piggybacking on that, what are the variables that you are seeing right now, that are essential in terms of deciding what is really good for us and the planet? What are we missing? What are we missing before? And you realize right now,
well, I think what we've missed in the past, I think if you go back to 200 odd years with the Industrial Revolution that happened and the development of profit, but at the expense of the environment, it was probably that we didn't, as a society, understand what we were doing. So for example, when we had coal being dug out of the ground, I mean, it was the advent of the Industrial Revolution, and we industrialized processes for efficiency, for wealth, to bring people along in society, to provide better goods and services. However, we didn't really realize at the time that the digging up of resources to the extent that couldn't be sustained in the planet was actually going to become a detrimental impact. And we certainly didn't understand climate change, CO2 production back then as well. And I think what's happened now is that the science that has been there for quite some time, people are actually understanding that. And particularly for people that are in the roles that I'm in, so I'm a director on about 6 different entities. So people are realizing that you've got to consider all those aspects in making decisions. And the fact that we've now progressed to a point which is not sustainable for our planet. So we're basically consuming 2.5 times what the world actually can sustain. So we cannot keep doing that. And in terms of turning that around, well, we have to basically decarbonize and have a different way of producing energy. So we can't turn off the energy because we're all living and breathing it every day, but we can transition from where we are to using alternative sources of energy. And that's the biggest issue, I think, with climate change, is the transition of our energy source.
Right. Yeah. I also resonate with that. Yes, it's really true. Like, and it has something to do with also the consumption of people, like the behavior of people as a collective.
Yes.
I feel that we have to be more conscious right now that, you know, it doesn't mean that there's an abundance of coal, for instance, that we will consume it, you know, without being mindful about it, something like that.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it's just sort of understanding that coal is really, you know, in the soil for a reason. I mean, it's the carbonization of into our soils, and we've depleted our soils of carbon over the years, and whether it's through agriculture, where we've reached a layer of carbon in the soils, or whether it's destroying the barrier reef, for example, through climate change, or cutting down our forests, which of course we've done with abandon really across the world, and we're still doing it to even now. So we're still not really learning, which is why, you know, I think one of my boards, Christine, is Greening Australia, and that's one of the things that they stand for is to regenerate and replenish the earth, because the trees have been cut down. And if you look at Australia going back 200 years, you know, the balance between the forest and the land mass has become disproportionate. So one of our big things is to plant 500 million trees by 2030, for example.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah.
And we're doing that with the support of big business, such as Wood Petroleum, that we've got a contract with them to plant trees in WA, in Western Australia, with also AstraZeneca. We've got a big $1 billion contract with them to plant 25 million trees by 2025. So, and there are other corporates that are doing similar things, and it's because their shareholders are demanding that they shouldn't be doing what they're doing, and they need to offset their carbon emissions by planting trees. That's just one way that they can do it. So that there is a shift happening, as I said, Christine.
Yes, I can really feel it. That we're going back to the nature, you know, to nature, to our true nature of us being human beings and our connection to the planet. Like right now, I can really sense that people all over the globe are, you know, waking up to this realization that we are connected to Mother Planet, and we cannot, you know, just take for granted that wisdom there that she is teaching us, something like that. So
yes.
Yeah. Actually, that's why I'm so excited with Symphony 7. By the way, Julie, I just want to ask you because you've been with Symphony 7 since like for a year now and all. May I ask you what has brought you to decide to join this community, this tribe?
Yeah, of course, that's a good question. I've known Anthony Gaddy, who started Symphony 7 for probably 3 or 4 years actually, and I'm I was called an ambassador, although I don't quite know what that means, but I'm now an advisory board member for the Sustainability Hub. And why I do that is because it basically brings together a group of people who are very similar in that they want to make a difference to our planet. And that gives me a lot of inspiration and it gives motivation, because it's just on your own, it's quite hard, but with other people, we can really transform. And there's many projects that we've got underway, as you know, and, you know, my wisdom and other people's wisdom can come together to progress some significant projects across the world. So I guess it's the energy, it's just being together with like-minded people, Christine.
Yes. Yes.
And learning, because we are all learning.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, I could totally, you know, agree with everything that you have said. And we are really privileged and honored to be for you to be part of it. It's really an honor. Thank you. So,
thank you. It's good to be here.
My last question for you is, you know, what's the best advice that you have ever lived in your life right now, and you know, that you would love to share to the world, especially for the new generations to come?
Well, I would say, well, there's a few things I would say. Oh, I think my battery's getting low, so I better be quick.
Okay.
I would say the person in the mirror, okay, the person in the mirror and when you wake up in the morning is a leader. So in other words, are all leaders. We don't wait for government or for the council or for the CEOs of our world. Every one of us has a choice in terms of consumption, and we can all make a difference. So whether you're a student or, you know, looking after children, or you're running a big business, it doesn't really matter. We all have leadership skills, and we all should believe in our own ability to make a difference.
That's so wonderful. Yes, so leaders really make leaders, not followers. That's one thing that I realized also. Thank you.
So
all right, so
you can, yeah, because the battery, I charged my iPad, but I think it's not working properly.
It's okay. Oh, well, thank you so much, Julie, for everything that you have shared with us. It's really an amazing insights that you have shared. And yeah, I'll see you in our next sessions, and I'm looking forward to our journey in Symphony 7.
Always a pleasure. Thank you,
A pleasure.
Christine.